Yep, you saw the thumbnail right. This is not a review on the new Velma show. So if you haven't been online for a bit, there has been a show that has been causing a massive upstir. That show is, of course, the new Velma show. Now, Velma was pretty much doomed for controversy the moment it was announced. With the new art style, new characters, and radical changes to old ones. Of course, the biggest crime of all, not even having Scooby-Doo in a Scooby-Doo franchise show. It was pretty much inevitable that backlash would come to this show, and even the trailer couldn't hide how awful it was. But as you saw from this video's thumbnail, this is not a review on it. I know this has all the perfect attributes for me to cover, but quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of shows such as this. So much that I guarantee you I will be able to predict most of what happens in the show without even seeing it. I bet that I'll be able to predict this entire show just off seeing the trailers alone. And if you're wondering, this video was inspired by an old Nostalgia Critic video where he predicted Transformers The Last Night, pretty accurately might I add, so I'm pretty confident going into this. And the reason I'm not going to even try to watch this show is because I refuse to support this show. Even by hate watching, you're still supporting the show because you're still watching it. So if you're wondering why I'm not going to see it, that's exactly why. I don't want to support something I know will be awful, and I encourage you to do the same thing. After all, this show is already seeing success of hate watching alone, and honestly, something like this doesn't really deserve any attention at all. The worst thing to ever happen to a show is for no attention to be given to it. So, let's talk about what I think will be the show Velma.
Jeez.
So the show will most likely start off on Velma herself, and how she goes through so many struggles and such without showing any of it, as she introduces each character and herself over narration by her. Velma herself will probably be a narcissistic pain, who blames everyone else for her own problems. She'll be painted as a victim by the show, of course, despite her doing things that just shows she's just a bully, and they will either treat it as a joke or an empowering moment for her to show that she's really kicking ass. And since she'll establish that she's a complete bully who's just mean to everyone else for no apparent reason, who will she be mean to? Well, that will most likely be Fred or Norville, but more likely Fred, as he'll be portrayed as a spoiled, pathetic, rich white man who is completely incompetent and serves as nothing more but as a tool to make Velma herself look good in comparison. This is done when a show is so bad that it's unable to write a character who's meant to be a foil in an interesting way, so it just makes them intentionally bad to make another character look good. And that's what I predict they'll do with Fred. Now, despite the trailers and promotional materials and what the studio says, Norville, despite having a huge change in design and personality from Shaggy, will probably be not important and serve as nothing but comic relief and or another punching bag for Velma to be cruel to. Yeah, despite them putting in a huge change to Shaggy, it was bait to get you to watch the show, as he serves no real point to the story or to Velma. It was just a completely weird change just to get people stirred up so that they'd have to see the show to see what was different. Since Scooby is no longer in the Scooby-Doo franchise for some totally genius reason, yeah, sure, you'll feel his absence and will probably be glad they didn't ruin Scooby like they did everyone else. And as a long-time Scooby-Doo fan who has grown up with the entire franchise, yeah, I'm pretty glad that I don't need to get to see Scooby being completely dishonored. Then you've got someone called Daphne. She will most likely be the second biggest character to Velma herself, and she will be presented just like Fred, as a spoiled, rich white girl, but secretly has a heart of gold, or affection towards Velma. She probably kept these emotions hidden so she could fit in with the popular group at her school. And there was probably a drama between those two that made them have a falling out, but later on in the series they'll end up coming together somehow. Also, as the show continues, there will be a joke that will constantly come up, whether it's about a certain person or it's a stupid meta joke. It won't be funny the first time, and still won't be funny no matter how many times they keep saying it. but they still won't stop saying it, and they just hope that it'll become a new catchy catchphrase for the fans of the series. The characters will be completely insufferable, but will still be shown way too much with poorly written meta, humor, and sexual innuendos to make him seem modern and current, but will only act as a way to completely divide audiences and cringe people out too far. Because, my god, sexual innuendos were so original 30 years ago, so surely it will work fine with hateable characters.
Nope.
Yeah, this show won't be subtle at all in its messaging, and will portray Velma as a hero who solves all the mysteries on her own, because asking for help is weak and sexist, right?
Right.
And all the other characters who try to help Velma because they're trying to be decent human beings will only get in her way of her and her genius, despite her never being shown to have a genius or even have competence when it comes to solving mysteries beforehand, and will just be told to us like we're a bunch of kids who don't understand writing. Velma herself will be like Mulan from 2020. She's already perfect in every way, so there's no need to grow or change or have any development. And if you question why they've done this, you're racist or sexist or both. The animation of the show will play it safe, something akin to Big Mouth. It won't take advantage of the possibilities animation has, and will most likely play it safe, with some decent designs but rigid movement. They might have one or two interesting shots, but the rest will pretty much be so mediocre that you could swap it to live action and you lose nothing. So essentially, this show will feel like an insufferable mess that lazily throws tired and unfunny jokes along with politics, bare-bones stories, and will feel like a poorly made lecture on society. Because ever since the Joker, we've needed more of that, but completely lacking any qualities that made the Joker work. And is only a Scooby-Doo show so that people will recognize it, and so it will have a controversy and guaranteed success, without having to put any other work in to justify the show's existence. Phew. So, was I close? You know what? I actually hope I'm wrong. I hope that someone behind the scenes said, let's do something fun. Let's do something funny. Let's use the animation effectively. Let's make these characters meaningful. Let's treat our audience as intelligent people. I hope someone said that. I pray that someone said that behind the scenes, and they got paid for their genius, and they are going on to make fantastic stuff. But I doubt it. Considering the reviews I've seen so far, it seems I was probably right. I hope I'm not, but I'm not going to watch to find out. It's been the Pink King, and I will see you peeps later.